Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into an absolutely fantastic tool for Python developers called the INEX library. Now, this explainer is based on some great material from the INEX Team's official YouTube channel. And trust me, it's for any developer out there who's looking to build faster, smarter, and way more securely. So, let's get right into it.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You kick off a new project, and before you know it, your requirements.txt file is just a mile long. You're grabbing one library for your web server, another for the database, a third for your security tokens, maybe a fourth for some cool AI stuff. It just gets messy, and it gets messy fast.
I mean, just look at this list. A modern app is a pretty complex beast, isn't it? You need a speedy web server, a database that's actually secure and encrypted. You need rock-solid security to handle passwords and user data. Maybe you want to plug in some AI, do some file management. Seriously, the list just goes on and on. Trying to manage all of those separate dependencies can be a real nightmare.
Well, what if I told you there's a way to handle almost all of that complexity with just a single comprehensive library? That is exactly the promise of INEX. It's designed from the ground up to be your all-in-one toolkit for modern Python development.
Okay, so let's start where every good application starts, the backend. We're going to see how INEX helps you get a secure server and a database up and running ridiculously fast.
So the first thing INEX tackles is the web server. Check this out. You can get a fully functional Flask server running with just a handful of lines of code. The entire process is just boiled down to 4 simple steps. You import, you initialize, you set a route, and you run it. For any developer, it's so obvious how much boilerplate code this just completely eliminates.
But what if you're a fan of FastAPI? What if you need that extra performance? Well, INEX is super flexible. If your project demands the raw speed of FastAPI for building out your APIs, the library lets you spin one up with the exact same level of simplicity. This kind of built-in versatility is really at the core of its design.
A server's great, but you need somewhere to put your data securely. Now, this is where INEX does something incredible. It abstracts away one of the most painful parts of this whole process: database encryption. You can set up a fully encrypted database in a single line. All you do is provide a password when you initialize it, and the library automatically handles all the heavy lifting with SQL Cipher on the back end. It's amazing.
So, to pull that all together for the backend module, you get dead simple integration with both Flask and FastAPI. It's ready for production with support for Unicorn and Uvicorn. You get that encrypted database right out of the box with flexible schema management. This is your entire back-end foundation, all consolidated into one powerful tool.
All right, so with our back-end foundation firmly in place, let's move on to the next critical layer, security. This is one of those areas where you absolutely cannot afford to make mistakes, and INEX really aims to make these robust security features much more accessible for everyone. Let's start with a task that is absolutely fundamental: passwords. With INEX, hashing and verifying a password gets reduced to just 2 super simple method calls. It handles all the complexity for you, using the industry-standard bcrypt algorithm to make sure your data stays safe.
Okay, now let's think about a more complex, real-world workflow, something like a secure user registration. You gotta hash the password, right? Maybe generate a secure API key, give the user some backup codes for 2-factor authentication, and of course, you have to sanitize all the input to prevent attacks. With INEX, each of these complex steps is handled by its own simple, dedicated function.
And honestly, this is just scratching the surface. The full security toolkit is incredibly comprehensive. I mean, it handles everything from JWTs for authentication and secure API key generation, all the way to input sanitizing to prevent cross-site scripting. It even has built-in support for 2-factor authentication. It's like having a security expert in a box.
Okay, now for the really exciting part. In today's world, AI is absolutely everywhere. But let's be honest, integrating with large language models can sometimes feel a bit clunky. INEX wants to change that. It makes AI integration a totally seamless part of your project. The key here is all about choice and consistency. It doesn't matter if you're working with Google's Gemini, OpenAI's ChatGPT, or even DeepSeek for code generation. INEX gives you a simple, unified interface. You just pick the model you want and instantiate its class. It's that easy.
And using it is just as simple. The whole process is boiled down to 3 little steps. You import the AI module, you initialize your chosen model with your API key, and you send your message. It makes getting a response from a powerful LLM just incredibly straightforward. So, we've covered the core pillars: backend, security, and AI. But INEX has a few more tricks up its sleeve, some genuinely surprising utilities that you would just never expect to find in a library like this. Yep, you read that right. INEX has a built-in module for creating videos from a folder of images. This is a perfect example of that Swiss Army knife philosophy we were talking about, bundling these powerful and unexpected tools all into one place.
And this isn't just some basic stripped-down tool either. You can add simple animations like fades and rotations, you can control the frame rate, and you can even optimize the output for specific platforms like YouTube or TikTok, which all have their own recommendations. It's surprisingly feature-rich.
And here's another little gem. What if you need to add internationalization to your app? With the Translate module, you can translate text into over 100 different languages with a single function call. It can even auto-detect the source language for you. That is just incredibly powerful.
So we've taken a pretty quick tour of the INEX library, right? From building a secure backend and integrating AI, all the way to creating videos. The power and the sheer breadth of this library are just so impressive. So let's talk about how you can actually get started.
Now, one of the smartest parts of its design is the modularity. You don't have to install everything at once. You can start with a basic pip install INX, or you can just pull in the specific feature sets like security or AI as you actually need them. This keeps your project nice and lightweight. Or, if you want the whole shebang, just install it with the all option.
And the real beauty of it all? It's 100% pure Python. The entire goal here is to consolidate and simplify. INEX takes dozens of common development tasks and just wraps them up in one cohesive, intuitive library that's designed to save you time and slash complexity. So if you want to dive in deeper, the entire project is open source. You can find the full source code on GitHub, and you can install the package directly from PyPI. I highly recommend checking out the repository just to see all the advanced usage examples they have.
So, there you have it. We've unpacked the toolkit. We've seen how you can build, secure, and totally supercharge your applications with just one library. So the only real question left is this. With all this power right at your fingertips, what are you going to build next?